Sadece devreyi kurmanın içeriğini ve şişesinde bir baskıda yaşadığı yaşar gibisinde bir yer açar. Ve Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Jayapataka Swami Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. So my name is Bhakti. I received initiation from Srila Bhakti in 1992 in Mayapur place. And actually, the day that he gave me initiation, in fact it was the initiation for me, I asked him to come to Jayapataka in South France. And he very kindly accepted, and 3 days after we were driving to the south of France. And at the time he had already his cane. So it was a little difficult for him to walk properly. And it was difficult for him to, we have a very simple accommodation. I remember. And so I invited him to stay in the room that I was renting in south of France. And it was about maybe 8 meters square room. So it was a place for one bed and one mat and little kitchen. And actually, from the beginning he showed me what is simplicity. He accepted to stay in the bed where I was sitting before, when I was sleeping just on the mat. And this quality of simplicity was quite extraordinary. And I have always seen this quality in me. Since Jayapataka Maharaj spoke quite a lot about his different services, his Quran and his scientific preaching, I may speak a little about different qualities that I have seen in him. One quality that impressed me a lot was his humility. He very often remember to me this verse, Trinadapi Sunichina, Dissapereance, Marina Madalena, and he really exemplifies this verse in his life. I remember one time in Manipur, we were visiting actually one of his former teachers in his very small school. And the teacher was about 75, 80 years old. And immediately when he saw his teacher, he fell under her, and stood under her to his former teacher. He was so tolerant about life, because many of the disciples, including myself, we are not so qualified, so we are making quite a lot of mistakes. So like father, he was always guiding us and always helping us to develop tolerance. One time I asked him in Calcutta, I was also in the Congress in 1997, and we were discussing about the French devotee. And I asked him, Maharaj, what is possible to do for the French devotee? He told me they need to be tolerant. So maybe I can invite all of them to come 5 years in Calcutta to learn tolerance. He was very joyful, very generous. Actually, in my observation, he was really a perfect gentleman. I have never seen him really angry, even in some disaster. Because he showed me and he showed us this really Krishna consciousness. It was a question of consciousness. He was so much busy working, serving his own spiritual master Srila Prabhupada, and a huge talk to present Krishna consciousness to the scientific world. It's quite huge, and he really very peacefully, with a lot of determination and a lot of joy. He was really working a lot. Calcutta was his place of work, really. And Krishna Prabhu at the end is going to tell us about what was the last days in his life, how he was experiencing something quite special. So actually, one day I was in Calcutta with him, and I get the opportunity to take some books from BI and to go to Calcutta to distribute books in Utananga, BI books. And actually, he was like very pleased to see that it was possible to that people, let's say, to do shop to shop were able to appreciate some books, took some books. So he put a lot of emphasis about these books about Bhakti Institute, about his scientific preaching, about God is a person, about all these things. And personally, I am quite inspired by all that what he has done in his life, and also for me, and also for many non-devotees that I know. He has been able to touch the heart of many people actually. Not in a big way like that, but in a very subtle, very deep, and very profound way. Now, 2 days ago I was in Radhakund, in his samadhi, and if you want to know a little more about him, I can invite you to come to Radhakund to samadhi in the Baldev Mandir, because it was really the place that he wanted to be. And when he stayed only a few days, he never slept in Radhakund, but it is a place that was the object of his meditation. So you are most welcome to come to the Mandir in Radhakund. Hare Krishna. Bhagavati Swarup Maharaj ki.
Thank you very much, Devarshi Prabhu. Now I'd like to ask Ms. Shashi Prabhu to say a few words.
Namo Vishnu Krishna Krishna Srimate Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami Ramchakalpa Puruyasya Kripa Sandhu Devata Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo. I take it as a very great honor that I can sit before you today to speak a little bit about His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami. As I do so, I remember my godbrother, His Grace Bojadev Prabhu. And I want to mention his name because he was actually our godbrother, Srila Prabhupada's disciple's godbrother. was very, very close to His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj. Actually, he was sitting on the stage in Janmashtami in Manipur when the terrorist attack happened and the bomb blast took place. And Bojadev's a rather big person. He took a lot of the shrapnel from those bombs, shielding His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj and preventing more serious injury from happening to him. Of course, he himself was very seriously injured. Fortunately now, by the grace of Lord Krishna, he is recovering. And I know he would like to be here today to speak about Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj. So I hope that I can do some service to him and Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj by saying a few words here today. I think that all of us should realize the significance of the loss that we are experiencing by the departure of His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj. He was, and his relationship with His Divine Grace, Dissapereance Swami Srila Prabhupada was very, very special. And it taught us a very, very special lesson about the relationship between Guru and disciple. Srila Prabhupada was very, very fond of His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj. Of course, the spiritual master is very fond of all his disciples. That is not to be questioned. But sometimes we see a very, very special relationship that exists between the spiritual master and one of his disciples. In ordinary material life, such a special affection is the cause of envy for others. But in spiritual relationships, the matter is different. Whatever pleases the Lord, whatever pleases the spiritual master, is the life and soul of all the disciples, of all the devotees. So if one can be pushed forward that offers special pleasure to the spiritual master, that is everyone's pleasure. And in my mind, His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj had this type of relationship with Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada would actually call for him. Where is our scientist? Whenever he wanted to have some fun, debating about smashing the scientist, he always wanted His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj to be there. What do they say? He would always ask him. Call him very affectionately. Of course, we know that Srila Prabhupada, his point in discussing the scientists and their belief system and how they've gained control in the world was more than just a mere joking session. It was a very, very key, essential part of his preaching Krishna consciousness all over the world. To destroy the hold, the grip that these materialistic sciences have on the minds and hearts of modern civilization. And so therefore, when he got a disciple like His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj, who was a scientist, who was trained by them, who could understand their arguments, and who was so surrendered to His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, he was very, very pleased by that. And he therefore called him, trained him, grilled him, provided all the instruction, all the support that he needed to be a key player in Srila Prabhupada's plan to change this world. They had a very, very special relationship. And all of us, whose life and soul it is to please His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, have lost something with the departure of His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj. So the question now becomes, how do we go forward? This is more and more becoming the unfortunate task of those of us that remain behind, as our beloved God brothers, one by one, depart to serve Srila Prabhupada in other places. Our task is to remain faithful to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, His mission, His vision, and to try to support that and participate in that mission in whatever way that we can. Clearly, Srila Prabhupada wanted this materialistic science to be defeated. Clearly and very affectionately, he trained His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj to do that. Clearly, it is our duty to try to further that work which was so dear to both of them. I know that during the last year of His presence with us here in this material world, His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj became more and more and more determined and fixed on the instructions, the very specific instructions that Srila Prabhupada had given him about this type of scientific preaching. I had the great fortune to be involved in debate with him about such instructions. Of course, that's very insolent of me to feel that I can debate with my senior godbrother, sannyasi, but somehow or another, by Krishna's arrangement, I was put in that situation. And the great lesson I learned from that was that I should be so fixed to instructions given by Srila Prabhupada as Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj was fixed to the instructions given to him by Srila Prabhupada. I think that none of us will be prepared at any time for the departure of such a wonderful Vaishnava. But if we can separate ourselves from the feelings of anguish at his departure, and we can look at it objectively. I don't know that looking at it objectively is what we would want to do. We'd rather look at it in a more heartfelt way. But if we did try to look at it objectively, if we could do that, we would have to say that he, no matter what the circumstances were, was fixed, irremovably fixed at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, and that such departure was indeed timely. Timely in the sense that he was so fixed. We can only pray to Srila Prabhupada, to Sri Radhamada, that at the time when we leave this world, we can be as fixed in the determination to serve Srila Prabhupada as His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj was when he left this mortal world. Hare Krishna.
Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj, thank you very much, Shesha Prabhu. Now we'd like to ask His Holiness Swarup Swami to say a few words.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Yuvani Paschanti Deshatayine Pancha Kalpatrusha Chakrapasta Heva Chandraditana Padadevya Vaishnavevya Namo. I spent a good deal of time with Bhakti Swarup Damodar in Los Angeles. And he, I think not too long after he began visiting the temple and taking those famous walks with Srila Prabhupada, I was present, and so I was on many of those walks. And of course, we became friends. Bhakti Swarup Damodar was, I was a sannyasi, then he was, of course, a student at the University of California in Irvine. And it's certainly true that his presence there inspired Prabhupada to speak on the famous topic of life comes from life. One time when I was relaxing in Los Angeles, I'm from Los Angeles, I was born there, I was looking at the database, Prabhupada database, and I looked up Los Angeles. I was just curious to see what Prabhupada had to say about Los Angeles, the sacred place where I was born. I found that there were two main things that Prabhupada always said about Los Angeles. Number one, he really liked the weather. And number two, that there was this, he had a disciple who was becoming a scientist, who was then of course told him to sing, and then became initiated with Swarup Damodar. So, basically, that's what Prabhupada had to say about Los Angeles. He liked the weather, and there was this disciple there, who was a scientist. So Prabhupada, it was something new, in a sense, for the Hare Krishna movement. I think Siddhartha Buddha had been a scientist, but he concealed the fact and just preferred to wash pots. So, for a while, but actually Swarup Damodar was the first time that, you could say, a practicing scientist, a young man, still getting his PhD, joined the Hare Krishna movement. He wasn't just someone who had studied science and then got burned out and joined the Hare Krishna movement, but he was actually involved in science, finishing his doctorate. So, not only that, but from Prabhupada's point of view, because Swarup Damodar, as we call him then, because he was from East India, of course from Manipur, but he studied at Calcutta University, as I just saw in this book here. And And Prabhupada could actually talk to him. There was a sense in which Prabhupada, when he came to the West, his disciples were very enthusiastic, very devoted, and also they were quite immature and sort of awestruck by Prabhupada, and also coming from often somewhat fallen backgrounds, in the sense that before we met Prabhupada, we've gone through a period of non-Krishna consciousness, extreme non-Krishna consciousness. So all these factors, plus Prabhupada came even externally from a different culture. We didn't know that much about Indian culture, or speak of Vedic culture. So I personally observed that when Prabhupada said this himself actually, that when Prabhupada would be in the association of devotees who, just on a regular external level, understood the culture that he was coming from, and he understood their culture, and in a sense there was a more mature, more natural relationship. Spiritually, of course, whoever was devoted to Prabhupada got his mercy, and we've seen that many devotees from all parts of the world have received extraordinary mercy from Prabhupada and extraordinary empowerment. But if we allow Prabhupada to be a person as well as an icon, for all of us, even when we're preaching, even when we're acting as gurus or sannyasi, whatever, I mean, it's nice sometimes to relax and just talk to someone who actually understands what you mean. And that was the case with Swarup Damodar. He provided that kind of pleasure for Prabhupada. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yuktahara Viharasya, there also has been, on one hand, even in Krishna consciousness, there's relaxation, there's a need for a certain minimum amount of comfort in order to be peaceful to your service properly. Of course, like Prahlad, sometimes we can serve under extraordinarily difficult, austere circumstances. It's normal for any soul, for any person, to enjoy that type of natural intimacy where people easily understand each other. So I think it was a combination of these two things, in retrospect, thinking now as a historian. The fact that Swarup Damodar was not a burned-out Westerner who had formerly studied science. He was a sober, non-sinful doctoral student in science, and because he came not only from India but from East India, he lived in Calcutta, he spoke Bengali. I think Prabhupada felt a natural affinity, and Prabhupada was quite enthusiastic. Prabhupada had the vision to see that a whole new chapter of Krishna conscious preaching was possible. And he definitely focused on Swarup Damodar as the sort of pivot of that kind of preaching. When Swarup Damodar established the Bhakti Institute, Hare Krishna. And so Swarup Damodar had the distinction, or Bhakti Swarup Damodar had the distinction not only of dedicating his life to serving Prabhupada to the best of his ability, but also for being Prabhupada's special instrument to inaugurate an ISKCON, an important chapter for mystery activities, and a chapter which we need to continue writing. He was also a personal friend of mine. I'll just say a few words about that. We were always friends, and whenever we would meet each other, we would joke a lot. You may find this hard to believe about me, but we had a very friendly relationship, and he would always say the same thing whenever he would see me, and I would start joking with him. He would always say to me, "Your pastimes are inconceivable." Also, I think I should mention that Dr. Swarup Damodar was one of the great ambassadors in the history of ISKCON. He, of course, especially in two ways. I can think of two ways in which he was an extraordinary ambassador of ISKCON to the world. One way, I'll start with the one and then go to the most important. He was, of course, born in Manipur, and he was quite familiar with Manipuri culture. And he used that ancient Manipuri culture, which in many ways was Vaishnava culture, to open many doors in the West. He brought for the Manipuri troupe sword fighters, the Rasa Lila dancers, and these different people, martial artists. I remember that in Los Angeles, and I'm sure other places as well, he booked this show at somehow in Los Angeles, all the high schools. Well, not all, just hundreds of high schools. But, so he did a tour of high schools in Los Angeles. He also presented the program at universities all over the West. And so using this facility of his Manipuri heritage, he was able to open many doors and be an extraordinary ambassador of Krishna consciousness around the world. And then, of course, an ambassador to the scientific world. He had the ability to be charming and to sort of win the hearts of all kinds of scientists, Nobel laureates, people who usually do not come on a regular basis to their local Hare Krishna temple. So he had a humble manner. He was able to really get in any door. He was able to ingratiate himself and establish a rapport with all of these different scientists. And by the power of his own personality and Krishna consciousness, persuade them to in some ways interact with Krishna consciousness, to participate in various ways in Prabhupada's mission, even if it was simply giving advice or writing papers or putting their name on publications. So this way I think he's one of the greatest ambassadors that we've seen this film. Anyway, so I'm glad to be able to participate here in this little memorial service in the sense of memory, establishing, engaging our memory of a wonderful Vaishnava, and all of us, of course, will have to leave this world. I hope no one is planning to stay here too long. So, in a sense, this final example of leaving Krishna consciousness leaving this world in a very Krishna conscious way is another extraordinary example from his life. So, thank you all very much. All glories to Bhakti, Swarup, Damodar.
Thank you very much for Jayapataka Swami. Now we'd like to ask another god brother of Srimad Maharaj, His Grace Dissapereance, who has been working or was working with Bhakti Damodar Maharaj since about 1980 on the scientific preaching, and particularly in pursuance of the instructions that Prabhupada gave to Bhakti Damodar Maharaj to gather up all our PhDs and present the Vedic planetarium. So Dissapereance would like to say a few words.
Oma Gyanati Mirandasya Gyanam Gyanasataka Chaksurum Niritam Kena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Ugyam Karoti Bhachalam Pangum Langayati Tamaham Kripaham Vande Singrum Diratarinam Yasya Deve Bhavakti Yata Deve Tatha Guru Tasyanti Hitavitarta Prakashante Mahatma Pancha Kalpa Tadubhya Shakripa Sindhubhya Vacha Padinanam Bhavane Vyo Vaishnave Vyo Namo Namaha Chinatapi Sunichena Taronapi Sahisuna Amani Nama Nadena Kirtaniya Krishnaya. It is my honor to say a few words about my dear good brother Srila Bhakti Swarup Maharaj, who I had the honor to work very closely during the last 30 years. So I know that it is not possible to glorify Vaishnavas in a short time, 8-10 minutes, and everybody is going to be very tired of his legs. But I will be trying to do my best to some glorification of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, because I have very few things to say that nobody knows about his pastimes. Even some confidential things about his departure. So, as was saying, Jayapataka Maharaj and Srila Maharaj, Shesha Prabhu, that the qualities of Swarup Maharaj as Vaishnava, they are very wonderful. He was a very special disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Of course, Prabhupada, like all fathers, all eternal well-wishers, he likes every disciple, but there are some special disciples who are more surrendered. So Prabhupada, through his instrument, Swarup Maharaj, made a specific task to preach to the academic community to defeat the atheistic theory of life control matter. So this famous conversation in Venice Beach with Swarup Maharaj and Prabhupada came in the form of that book. Everyone knows that book, Life Control Life. So somewhere over there by the remembrance of Krishna, they with each other in very special circumstances that remember me. I want to explain to Vaishnavas because it's not well known the circumstance how Swarup Maharaj became Prabhupada. He was preparing his PhD thesis in physical organic chemistry in Irvine University in California. There was very close friend of him, Dr. Rao, also a student of PhD, who Indian, also was Indian, and was from Manipur. In fact, Maharaj was Naistika Brahmachari from his whole life. It's another quality should be mentioned. Instead of his gentleness, he was a very gentleman, very charming, very humble, very simple, at the same time very learned. It is a quality of Vaishnava to be humble. Even he was learned, he was PhD, but he was always very aware of his mission entrusted by Srila Prabhupada. Because as Hirananda Maharaj said, Prabhupada made him a perfect instrument to be a wonderful ambassador of the ISKCON movement regarding the teaching to academic community. Because Prabhupada knew that we can defeat this tendency, this materialistic tendency, because the scientists, they are the leaders. Then the International Society for Krishna Consciousness will have great credit. So Maharaj was acting in tune with Prabhupada to be a better instrument to defeat this, as Bhagavad Gita says, Maya, Bhavita, Yamasura, Bhavanasura. So Maharaj met Srila Prabhupada when he was a student of his thesis, but his insistence on his friend Dr. Rao. He said, he was in Los Angeles. I went to go to Srila Prabhupada. He insisted different times to see Prabhupada. But they say, no, because I am very busy with my PhD thesis. So one and again he insisted and Rao. And finally he said that if you are not coming today, I won't be your friend anymore. So Maharaj at that time said, okay, I go with you. So we meet Prabhupada. And as soon as he meet Prabhupada, Prabhupada, they know they are both scientists from India, from Manipur and from India. And Prabhupada said to them, you are coming to USS to steal scientific knowledge and to get money. But I came here to give a very valuable thing to his Krishna consciousness. So that's a word of Prabhupada impressed very much to Srila Swarup Maharaj. So you become convinced it is hard. So the rest is history. But I want to say a few words about his departure. I had the honor to work with him closely, as he was superior to me in many ways. But by his compassion, his mercy, as his disciple has said, he always was showing a lot of compassion to everybody. He was a very charming personality. He was a perfect ambassador how to deal with the scientists, especially with the Nobel laureates. This Prabhupada's mercy came to him. Because Prabhupada established BI, Bhakti Institute, for this specific purpose, to preach to the academic community. Otherwise, they may be set this wonderful movement as stand strong consciousness of the divine word. So Prabhupada wanted him to play that role, and I think that almost he accomplished this task very wonderful. I remember that I was in Bombay. I came to India before 1979. I was Sankirtan dealer in Caracas. I was working under the GBC of Hirananda Maharaj at that time. I went to BBT in Los Angeles, and I met for the first time there. It was Brahmachari. Swarup was Brahmachari, staying in the apartment of BBT. And I was very impressed. As Guru Maharaj, I was very impressed when I met him for the first time. So he told me, I know that you are a mathematician, that you are doing research in this country, so please you join BI, go to London and join Bombay. So I was in Bombay for many years with another scientist, good brother, Mahavapuri, who is PhD in quantum physics. So we work with Maharaj very closely, and we travel together to different places of the world, conference in San Francisco, Los Angeles. Here in India, we have a special dealings with Professor George Wall, Nobel laureate in Bombay. He met also different Nobel laureates in Delhi. I remember All Indian Science Conference in Delhi. There came 3 Nobel laureates. I got privately Nobel laureate in quantum physics also. Many of them. So Maharaj was empowered by Srila Prabhupada's first disciple. As Sesha Prabhu was saying, his determination, even in the time of obstacles and impediments and disagreement, he was fixed in the determination to follow the instruction of his spiritual master. So this is a very nice quality to be remembered in this memorial about his character, his personality was fixed. For the last 3 years, I have the honor also to be very close with him. He was very intense preaching here in India. And Maharaj told me, so since maybe I can tell you even about his departure. But it was the Manipur blast. I supposed to came to India before July this year. It was Yamastami. Then by arrangement of Krishna, the ticket not came. So I was complaining, why Krishna, why? In fact, Krishna is unbelievable. His plan is achieved, also Vaishnava then achieved. He had some plan from my uncle self. So I can come to Manipur, but it was that blast. Bhojade Prabhu was there, he was seriously injured during the Rasa Lila in Manipur. It's a Vaishnava state, Vaishnava culture. Some criminal activity, throw some grenade, it was a big blast. My devotees, local devotees, Manipur died. Almost 48, 50 devotees also got injured. Bhojade Prabhu, the Emperor was one of them, and also he protected Maharaj from being died. So all these circumstances together, Maharaj told me very confidentially, maybe I don't have more time left here in this world, already 68, already 61. So I told what will happen with Bhaktivedanta Institute, because you have new PhD disciples, and who is going to continue this vision and mission of Srila Prabhupada, this legacy. So he was saying, well, let's see, everything is in the hands of the Lord, so we are insignificant, we should carry on the mission of Prabhupada. So we preached very intensely, even in a year 2006 we did Govardhan Parikram together. He never did Govardhan Parikram, but he did Parikrama naked feet. So Prabhupada told me, I spent many years in Vrindavan. We respect Swarup because he had the qualities of a sadhu. The Diksha Vakarunika is very compassionate, very merciful, very charming person, you know. Also, his smile, he was empowered by Prabhupada how to deliver Krishna consciousness to that difficult academic community. In fact, he was the only disciple of Prabhupada who wrote a book during his presence of his divine grace, Scientific Basis of Krishna Consciousness. The only book wrote by one disciple. And Prabhupada was very pleased at that time, 76, 77, we have a conference in Vrindavan, and Prabhupada was very pleased with him, you know, giving reports every day. So, in the part of Prabhupada, in the Antya Lila, final pastime of his divine grace in Vrindavan, also it was very close association with Swarup Damodar. In fact, from 1 o'clock till 3 o'clock. He was nearby the bed of Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada told to him in Bengali. Prabhupada told me in Bengali, maybe when we are going to pass away, we told in a modern tone. God Prabhupada was transcendental again. From the spiritual world to say, oh, this person, emissary of Srila Prabhupada, but he was close relation at that time, nearby the bed of Srila Prabhupada. Telling many things about only speaking about Bhaktivedanta Institute, because Prabhupada said Bhaktivedanta Institute is a more prestigious branch of ISKCON. If we can convince the scientists of that, we will be there for the glory of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So I want to say, for finalize, many things to say about him. I was fortunate, as I say, to get close association, intimate relation. Prabhupada made him DBC for life. But one thing I learned from him is tolerance and his humility. It's very easy to be humble, but it is very difficult to be tolerant. So the last 2 years, he was very discussed, very sour, for many misunderstandings, circumstances with his old brothers. But he told me, anyway, I'll give you obedient to Prabhupada, and I will be fixed in my determination to carry on that mission that Prabhupada started to me. So he was worrying about that conference in Puri, Jagannath Puri. He was the chairman. We organized all second all student Indian conference for science and spiritual quest. The first we held in Vrindavan after his Vyasa in 2005. So in past December 9 and 10 December in Jagannath Puri, we hold that conference. I make a presentation of Vedic cosmology in his honor. So before that, in Vrindavan, when I just take 1 minute more because it's important about his departure. We say that Swarup Maharaj died because of a massive heart attack. But it was not true. I will reveal for the first time in the presence of Radha Madhava Societies and Vaishnavas what was the real departure. I called him 2 days before in Vrindavan. I called to Calcutta, and some disciple told me that Guru Maharaj had high fever. So it was last recorded, like his last address to the disciple. Thank you very much for your service you are doing for me and for Prabhupada, etc. So when some perception came to my heart, but the message of Prabhupada, Radha Krishna said, Maharaj want to leave. So that night, about 10 o'clock, it was in his apartment back in Calcutta, MP Road, and Maharaj went out, complaining about some pain in his left shoulder. So he asked my disciple, who was there taking care of the publications, to bring some ice, because he was feeling pain in the left shoulder. The pain go to the left feet, and then suddenly Maharaj started pressing heavily with difficulty. But he asked some massage. But he was waiting for the time of Maharaj, because after that Manipur blast, he was complaining that my mind became to new spiritual world. He was living very confidential. I can tell you, I have a perception also about that. Maharaj left this world because Prabhupada wanted him to take back for his Nitya service, and Radha Krishna Chandra also wanted him back for the spiritual world. I have this perception when I measure Prabhupada. So we say for the practical sense of the doctrine that he was passing away for not for heart attack, to avoid being autopsia for the cause. But in fact, when the Krishna's amendment, he was waiting for the Master Saraswati time, so he passed away at that moment. So many things to say, but time is short. I don't want to try Vaishnavas, but we should remember and take, the example of this wonderful disciple Srila Prabhupada, scientist, Vaishnava from birth. He was in the line of Narottam Das Thakur. He was Vaishnava from his very beginning. So this is an example from this society, how some disciples of his surrender, and wonderful qualities that he was. So we want to pray for his mercy, and we want to pray also to the Lotus Feet of Srila Prabhupada Sri Vaishnavas to continue and put forward the legacy, the vision of Bhaktivedanta Institute that Srila Prabhupada entrusts to us. So, Srila Bhakti Swarup Maharaj ki hai, Srila Prabhupada ki hai.
Thank you, Dissapereance. Now our final speaker is Srimad Prasad Das. He's going to, there's a sheet that's been passed around giving a description of Maharaj's last few hours, and then he'll read from that, and then we're going to end with a very short audio clip of Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj singing a verse that he wrote about Radha Krishna Leela. Thank you, Prasad.
Srimate Bhakti Damodar Swami Dinamine, Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale. Srimate Bhakti Damodar Swami Dinamine, Namaste Saraswate Devam Gauravani Vicharini, Vishesha Sunyavadi Paschata Desitarani, Anshagar Patam Vyasham Sindhudevacha, Patitanam Pavane Vishnu. So I will be reading the glorious departure of Srila Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami Maharaj, so which is written by Srila Maharaj's servant. So those are attending him in the last 7 to 10 years. So Srila Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami Maharaj, beloved spiritual son of Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, disappeared from this mortal world during the Rasa Leela period of Lord Sri Krishna's Ashtakalya on Vijayadashami, which according to this year, Panchadyam, is the most auspicious day of this calendar year 2006. Sripad Maharaj's disappearance took place in Calcutta, the holy appearance place of Janmasthana of his Divine Master Srila Prabhupada. Calcutta is also the holy site from which the divine grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur chose to disappear. Due to Sripad Maharaj's deep and intense love for his Divine Master, Srila Prabhupada, he not only chose Calcutta as his place of work, but also as his place of disappearance. Sripad Maharaj's unwillingness to compromise on Srila Prabhupada's instruction is well known, and we hope that his dedication to Srila Prabhupada's instruction will serve as an illustrious example for the worldwide devotee community, now and for all times to come. As most of you may have heard, there was a serious bomb blast inside the ISKCON Manipur's temple complex on August 16, 2006, Sri Janmashtami Day. So in that bomb blast, 6 devotees, including 2 children, left this world, and over 40 devotees were seriously injured. Sripad Maharaj's body was also injured during this blast. He had a deep cut and a fractured bone in his left forearm, a small puncture in his left eardrum, and a tiny sharp bone in his back. After preliminary treatment in Manipur and performing the Shraddha ceremony for the departed devotees, Sripad Maharaj came to Calcutta on August 25, 2006, where he was admitted into the Apollo Hospital. There he underwent successful operation on his forearm and ear. He was discharged from the hospital on September 9, 2006. On September 19, 2006, Maharaj visited the hospital for a routine checkup. At that time, the bone on his back had almost healed, and the doctors were surprised by how quickly the fractured bone in his forearm was setting. The cut on his arm, on his forearm was also healing well. While returning from his hospital, to his flat, Sripad Maharaj asked us to search his room and find his Manipur Nat Sankirtan Rasa Leela audio cassettes. Actually, that cassette was recorded in 1976, but which was unknown to everybody. That cassettes were kept Maharaj on his reactor. Everybody don't know what is that cassette. So from September 10, 2006 until the day of his disappearance, Sripad Maharaj's mood and behavior was different from what we had previously experienced. Every day he would listen to and sing along with these cassettes for the entire day, except for when he was taking his medicine, prasadam or a little rest. We thought that Maharaj was taking it easy during his recovery. As his normal schedule was very active and he never previously took the time to listen to Kirtan cassettes. The Manipuri Narsangitan cassettes that he was listening to were Kirtan's song in the Manipur language, which described the pastime of Lord Sri Krishna and Srimati Radharani. Since we don't understand the Manipur language, Sripad Maharaj during his long time would sometimes explain to us that what was being sung on the tapes. He said that the songs describing the Rasalila are so absorbing that one can completely forget this world. He said this world is on one side and that world is on another side. He was always in an extremely happy mood and said he was feeling more enthusiastic than ever. So one afternoon, Sripad Maharaj explained to us that one of the Manipuri songs described Srimati Radhika's walking to be like that of a graceful female elephant. So Sripad Maharaj expressed many other details about the pastime of Sri Radha and Krishna. However, due to our unfortunate lack of qualification, we could not understood them or not. Did we make a recording of Sripad Maharaj during his time? Sripad Maharaj described how the Rasalila is performed according to the ancient Manipur tradition. He also told us that once he discussed the Manipuri Rasalila with Srila Prabhupada and said that Srila Prabhupada was very pleased with the profound Manipur Vaishnava culture. We asked Sripad Maharaj how the Gaudiya Vaishnava culture and these particular Manipur tunes originally came to Manipur. Sripad Maharaj said that the songs and devotional culture are from Narottam Das Thakur, whose disciple came to Manipur and initiated King Bhagyachandra Maharaj. The tunes were developed by Bhagyachandra Maharaj himself and some subsequent Manipur kings. While explaining more, Sripad Maharaj described how the performance of Rasalila is done in the Manipur tradition. It first begins with the glorification of Gauralila, wherein Lord Gauranga is requested to come and be the principal witness of the Rasalila. The glories of the Yuga Dharma, Harinam Sankirtan are exalted and prayers are sung to the Nityananda, Lord Nityananda. Then only does the Rasalila begin. So a week before his disappearance, Sripad Maharaj, in a deep mood, wrote down a wonderful transcendental song in the Manipur language. He then sang and recorded it for all of the devotees. Many devotees now have recordings of this wonderful transcendental song. It was sung in what his disciple called his Gopi voice. Sripad Maharaj written verse for the song as translated by him as follows. So this song we have got fortunate for recording this song. So Maharaj many times singing this song with crying. So these recordings we have, so we can play this.
Krishna
we don't have time for any further talks, but there is a printed sheet. If you don't have one, you can see Prasad Prabhu and get one of these. This is an account of the last few hours of Maharaj's stay with us. There is also a wonderful book. Please sit down until this announcement is finished. Please remain seated. I'm just going to be one more minute. There's a very nice book that glorifies Sripad Maharaj. It's called Bhagavat Sevarpanam. And it gives a few details of his early life in Manipur, and how he came to the West, how he met Srila Prabhupada, how he took up the instructions that he was given, and some of the consequences of his scientific preaching. So I think that that's attainable from the BI bus that's parked just opposite this building, and you can get that from Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj's disciples. So thank you all very much for attending the program. Let's meditate on Sripad Maharaj's wonderful service to Srila Prabhupada as we go about doing our own service to Srila Prabhupada and the Vaishnavas. Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj ki!